Maaari bang humingi kami ng detalye bakit po si General Torre na 2-star general ang napili ng Pangulo bilang susunod na hepe ng PNP?
Wala akong may bigay na detalye dyan, ano? You know, the appointment of elements of the officers of the PNP, there has to be kept confidential. Okay? We should respect that confidentiality, but it's the President's discretion, which I consider to be absolute. Well, you cannot consider that commander-in-chief kasi civilian yan, no? Pero more or less, ganun. No one can question the use of that discretion, call it inscrutable. But right now, the considerations that weighed in the choice of General Torre should be respected.
Kasi he oversaw many high-profile operations, including yung kay Pastor Kibuloy and then recently yung pag-aresto kay former President Duterte. May kinalaman po kaya yung naging handling niya ng mga ganong operations sa naging choice ng Pangulo?
Hindi ko masasabi yan dahil alam mo si Presidente always demands performance. Kahit na ano yung pinagawa sa iyo, you must have you must exhibit some high degree level of performance. So maybe that is one. I'm not going to discount that. But there may be other qualities of General Torre that he might have considered in comparison to the qualities of those others who were not given this responsibility.
Salamat po.
Eden Santos, Net 25.
Good afternoon po, ES. Yung pong pagkaka-appoint ni General Torre, inaasahan po ba na magkakaroon ng mga demoralization or sahanay po ng PNP yung pagkaka-appoint po sa kanya ng Pangulo? Dahil kung titingnan po yung mga background po ng iba pang contender, hindi po kaya magdulot ito ng problema sa hangin?
Palagay ko naman hindi. Dahil professional yung mga kahanay ng kapulisan. No? They're all very great professionals. They're very decorated individuals. So they just follow what the Commander-in-Chief or what the President desires.
So hindi po naman ito reward sa kanya, another reward ng Pangulo, yung kanyang
Alam mo, lahat ng promotion reward yan, ano? But most promotions are given on merit. So let us assume that this was given on merit because, you know, it was not an easy decision on the part of the President. He considered, to my recollection, 5 names, no? And you must probably have an idea of who those 5 were. But as of this time, the decision was already made, and it favored Police Major General Torre. By the time he accepts this appointment, he will have the 4 stars. That is the regulatory rank, the stars.
Thank you po.
Ira Panganiban, DZRJ.
Yes, General Torre will be serving 1 year and 9 months, if my calculations are correct. That means he will be one of the longest chief of the Philippine National Police to serve. Does this mean there are going to be more of activities that he has been doing in the past that we can expect in the future, like what happened to the KOJC, the Duterte incident, and all other incidents that General Torre has been involved in?
Well, let him show to us I do not understand too well the question. No? Performance is always depending on the situation. In these kinds of operations of the police, he was given an assignment, yung KOJ, ang sinasabi mo. He went at it like it was an ordinary thing, very professional. So we should praise him for that. There may be other situations like arresting a kidnapper. That's another kind of operation. So let us not judge a person on the basis of one that he had done very excellently. Baka yung next na kanya, palpak siya. Ibig sabihin nun, it's not going to be easy for us to predict.
Follow up lang. So, serving for a year and 9 months, the longest I remember of a chief PNP serving very long is something like 6, 7 months, 8 months at most. A year and 9 months. Does this mean better stability for the Philippine National Police, considering that you are going to have a chief that is going to serve for quite some time now, na matutuloy-tuloy yung mga proyekto nila?
You know, look at it this way, you know. All PNP chiefs serve at the pleasure of the president, whether they have a term or not. If the president wants to terminate them, he could do that. But let us just expect that General Torre will be there until the end. That's all I can say. Will be there performing his best until the end. Everybody of us would like to do that ourselves.
Thank you, sir.
Ivan Mayrina, GMA.
All right, joining us now on Hot Copy, Senator Amy Marcos. Senator Marcos, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning. Kumusta na kayo?
All right, you said kailangan mangibabaw ang katotohanan. And that would be at the expense, essentially, of your brother's approval, the president's approval on how the arrest of former President Duterte was handled. Clearly, you do not believe that he had the power or that was the right manner to do so. Tama ba yun, ma'am?
Masalimuot yung tanong mo. Ano ba yung tanong? Ang nakikita ko lamang nung tinangay si Presidente Duterte at dinala sa ibang bansa, lahat tayo ay nayanig. Naiyak ako at katulad ng marami, nabigla kung bakit tinangay ang isang Pilipino, matanda na, may sakit, dinala sa ibang bansa. Bakit? Binaliwala na ba yung ating husgado? Wala na bang kakwenta-kwenta lahat ng huwes sa Pilipinas? Wala na bang rule of law sa atin? Talaga bang failed state na tayo na kinakailangan sa ibang bansa? At talagang pinilit ko na magkaroon ng investigasyon dahil responsibilidad to. I'm the chairperson for foreign relations, and it was the first time that we encountered a case, really a case of first impressions to do with the ICC and the Interpol, and I felt obliged to look into it and find out the truth, if only to calm everyone's nerves, everyone's fears and anger that was demonstrated more than amply in the streets. So wala namang kinalaman sa aking kapatid. Ang nais kong malaman, talagang ano ba nangyari at karapat-dapat ba? Doon naman tayo nagsimula ng investigasyon. At the very start, if you recall in October, when the filing for candidacies began, I already declared I'd be independent of the Alianza and of any other alliance. May masamang kutob ako eh. I had this really bad feeling that horrible things would happen. But I didn't really think it would go this way, that it would actually be this bad. At ayoko yung bardagulan sa politika. Yun lang naisip ko eh. I just turned out because it was Lawag, it's my son, okay lang. Pero hindi ko na sinisiputan lahat. At I basically relied on local friends to campaign. Yun lang. Pero yung investigasyon had to carry on.
Okay, so you brought it before the Ombudsman, and the Ombudsman acted quickly on your complaint. The Ombudsman is asking the personalities to answer the allegations within the days that are required. I wanted to ask you, what do you believe under Republic Act 9851? No less than Senior Associate Justice Carpio, who, by the way, is not politically aligned with you or President Marcos Jr. says that under RA 9851, the widespread murder or willful killing of civilians is considered a crime against humanity, and therefore the persons arrested may be brought to court before authorities so the president can decide to surrender a Filipino citizen. What do you make, Senator, of RA 9851?
Yes, mahabang diskusyon namin yan sa hearing, and we also involved further experts such as Justice Ascuna, who was part and parcel of the framing of the Constitution. In addition, we also had legal consultants, we had attorneys and constitutional lawyers. Ang dinidiscuss namin yung 9851, particularly Section 17. There's no dispute regarding crimes against humanity, but the dispute revolved around surrender versus extradition. They were claiming that it was surrender. The Secretary of Justice indicated that it was surrender, when in fact the reference in the Interpol sheet was to extradition. Extradition, as we know, has just been ruled upon in a very critical case last year, yung immigration versus UNLE. Ang dami-daming kondisyon. Mga 8 yata yun na kinakailangan may hatol galing sa local court and so on. And in fact, the surrender that government was claiming is limited only to foreigners. So dapat hindi ginawang surrender katulad ng nangyari.
But is that right?
Dahil maliwanag naman na Pilipino siya. Kaya hindi dapat sinusurrender ang isang Pilipino.
Okay, but Senator, does RA 9851 state that it's only for foreigners? It doesn't state right here that it's only for foreigners?
Yes, what happened apparently when you investigate the records and the transcript, na tanggal yung surrender of foreigners. But it's very, very clear in the original draft. It's also there in the discussions. And for some mistake, there's been a failure to include the fact that surrender refers to foreigners. I think this is also constitutionally mandated because Filipinos do have a right guaranteed by the Constitution to live in their own homeland. Yung extradition, kapag magpapalayas ka, napakadaming kondisyon eh. Kaya kinakailangan siguro yun na, yung in aid of legislation. While we have to give the constitutional mandate to the Ombudsman to punish and investigate erring public officials, the Senate and the Congress can actually amend 9851 so that it's clearer. In fact, the extradition law in the Philippines was written by my dad, so I think I typed it up because I remember it quite clearly, and it's very, very old as well.
Okay, so Senator, to leave this particular topic, clearly it wasn't extradition, pero naniniwala po kayo lumampas sa kapangyarihan ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. ang ginawa niya ng pagbigay, pag-surrender kay dating Pangulong Duterte sa The Hague. Nilabag po niya ang batas.
Hindi maliwanag kung sino ang nag-order. Tinatanong nga namin pero sabi nila executive privilege. Tapos nung bandang huli ang sinabi si Secretary of Justice, si Boying Remulla, sabi niya siya daw nag-order. So hindi po maliwanag kaya nahihirapan ako and I'm having a difficult time deriving witnesses because subpoenas have not been signed. Not a single one has been signed by the Senate President. And even the single person we held in contempt. First time ko mag-contempt, hindi ako mahilig niyan eh, ay rinilis ka agad-agad. So sabi ko sa ombudsman na lang tayo umasa pagkat hinaharang itong investigasyon. Mukhang ayaw na ayaw nilang mabuko at mailabas ang katotohanan. Pero natuwa naman ako sa ombudsman kasi ang issue ay talagang umaksyon agad at hindi nasayang yung panahon ng lahat. Ipinalagay kong nakita ng ombudsman ang kasinungalingan at mga butas sa testimonya at kilos na lumitaw sa 3 pagdinig ng Senate Committee.
Pero Senator, President Marcos Jr. had a press conference right after the surrender, and he said the government had no choice but to cooperate with the Interpol, which means essentially he gave the go signal or he ordered, but clearly he agreed to the surrender kasi nag-press con po siya eh. So,
Yes, I'm aware of that. Narinig ko nga na may obligasyon ng Pilipinas at siguro yun ang pagkasabi sa kanila ng mga advisor at maliwanag naman na ang Pilipinas ay hindi nasakop ng ICC. This is way too late as recently underscored by the defense attorneys also at the ICC of President Duterte. At the same time, it's very clear that the Interpol was merely forwarding an email, a request for information to the Republic of the Philippines, and that in fact, President Duterte is not in any way wanted by the Interpol. As a matter of fact, those who are familiar with the Interpol are very clear that no red warrant was sent out. In fact, it was only a diffusion order because it was political or suspiciously so, which would be against the Constitution of the Interpol in Section 3, Article 3, ang liwa-liwanag. Kapag politika, ayaw nila sumali.
oo. So, ganito, Senator, ang tanong ng marami, why would Senator Amy Marcos go as far to defend the Dutertes, to stand by the Dutertes, no, over your own brother? You've been quoted as saying, Senator Amy Marcos has said, I cannot bear what was done to President Duterte. And yet, ang tanong ng ilan, what about the Vice President threatening to have your brother assassinated? Or the Vice President threatening to throw your father's remains in the West Philippine Sea? So, people are confused. Bakit siya kumakampi sa hindi niya kamag-anak, kapatid niya, at ang kapatid niya na namumuno ngayon ng bansa, bakit niya inaaway?
Ako, Karen,
Ang sagot ko, Senator.
hindi mo ako magagawang defensive kasi wala akong kasalanan at wala akong ipagtatanggol sa ginawa ko. Eto, wala itong kinalaman sa Marcos o Duterte. Sabihin ko ang totoo, ito ay soberanya ng Pilipinas. Hindi ko matanggap eh. I cannot accept what happened. It was clearly a challenge and an insult to our sovereignty, to the functioning courts and our exemplary judges. And I cannot accept that this was the right thing to do. It had very little to do with being a Marcos versus the Dutertes. Kinakampihan, sabi mo, para sa akin wala akong kinakampihan. Kinakampihan ko ang Pilipinas dahil hindi tama ang nangyari. On a personal note, ang nakita ko lamang ang nangyari sa tatay ko. Ganyan din ang ginawa sa ama ko, tinangay ang aking pamilya, dinala sa Hawaii, at para sa akin hindi katanggap-tanggap yun. Like President Duterte, my father announced time and again that he was prepared to face any Philippine court, but not a foreign court, given that all the alleged crimes and offenses were committed in Philippine territory against Filipino citizens. Ano naman ang pakialam ng dayuhan sa ating usapin? Nakita naman natin lahat ng tinangay na mga testigo, ang dokumento, lahat ng deposition nanggaling sa Pilipinas at dinanga sa The Hague. Bakit hindi na lang natin ginawa dito? May nagsabi nga sa akin imported na nga yung rice, imported pa yung hustisya. Ano ba nangyayari sa bansa natin? Wala na ba ang Pilipinas?
Okay, but then, Senator, you also have Duterte's crimes against humanity.
We are not denying. I am not in any way judging, denying. I'm not standing as his attorney. I have no doubt that there are actions that need to be answered for. But to my mind, given that the accused is Filipino, that the victims were Filipino, all the alleged crimes were committed in the territory of the Philippines, bakit hindi na lang dito? Kaya naman natin yan kung ano-ano na ang nangyari dito sa atin, bansa, na alam naman natin ang patuan, ang mamasapano, ang kung ano-ano na talagang kinakailangan panagutan. At nakita naman natin, nakinaya naman ang husgado natin yan. Bakit naman ito? Takot na takot tayo. Baka kaduwagan na imbes na dito sa Pilipinas kinakabahan kaya walang visa muna yung ating judiciary at tinangay sa ibang bansa. Hindi naman maganda yun. Ayoko naman na sabihin na wala nang pakinabang dito. Isara na natin lahat ng korte.
Okay.
So, para sa akin, wala ito sa pamilya eh. At pinipilit nila na pumanig ako sa kaapelyido ko o pumapanig sa mga kaibigan ko. Walang ganun eh. Para sa akin, ang tama ay tama, ang mali ay mali.
Okay.
So,
Senator.
paglaban ng tama, itama ang mali. So,
Okay.
na lang, iisa na lang tayo dyan.
Alright, Senator, sinabi niyo ilaban ang tama, ang mali ay mali. And yet, you have Vice President Sara Duterte endorsing you. And the sitting Vice President, frankly speaking, refuses to answer or to account for how she spent confidential funds. She has names in her confidential funds like Mary Grace Piatos. I mean, pagkain na yung maraming nakapirma doon sa mga resibo.